You are sitting in a room full of people and you feel completely alone. Maybe it's a party, maybe it's a family dinner, maybe it's just an ordinary Tuesday. Your thumb sliding across a glowing screen full of faces you will never touch. You tell yourself it's a mood, a phase, something a good night's sleep will fix. But the real answer is far stranger. That ache you feel isn't only in your mind. Your body is treating your loneliness the same way it treats a broken bone. The same alarm, the same chemistry, the same ancient warning system screaming that something has gone wrong. Why would evolution do that to you? To understand it, you have to go back. Not a few years, not a few centuries, hundreds of thousands of years, to a version of you standing on an open plain, small and slow and soft, surrounded by things with claws. You had no armor, you couldn't outrun a lion, your teeth were almost useless. Alone on that plain, you were prey. You were food waiting to happen. But you had one weapon that changed everything. Other people. A single human is a snack. A group of humans is a wall of spears, a network of eyes, a shared memory that knows where the water is and which berries kill you. For your ancestors, the group wasn't a comfort, it was the body's outer shell. It was survival itself. So your brain evolved a rule, a brutal, simple, life-saving rule. Being connected means safety. Being alone means death. And your brain needed a way to enforce that rule. It needed something that would grab your attention and refuse to let go the instant you drifted too far from the group. It needed a signal so unpleasant you would do anything to make it stop. Do you know what it chose? Pain. This is the work of a scientist named John Cacioppo, who spent his life studying loneliness at the University of Chicago. He argued something that sounds almost absurd at first. Loneliness, he said, is not a weakness or a flaw. It is a biological signal. It works exactly like hunger, exactly like thirst. Think about what hunger really is. Hunger isn't the problem. Hunger is the alarm that warns you about the problem, which is a lack of food. It makes you uncomfortable on purpose, so you get up and eat before you starve. Cacioppo called loneliness the hunger for people. It is the alarm that warns you that your social body, the group that keeps you alive, is running dangerously low. The discomfort isn't a malfunction. The discomfort is the entire point. But here's where it gets strange. Your brain didn't build a brand new system to create that alarm. Evolution is lazy. It doesn't invent when it can borrow. So when it needed a way to make isolation hurt, it reached for a system that already existed. The one that already knew how to make you feel pain. And that means, deep inside your skull, the wound of loneliness and the wound of a knife share the same wiring. A researcher named Naomi Eisenberger set out to test this at UCLA. She designed one of the most quietly devastating experiments in modern psychology. She put people inside the brain scanner and had them play a simple online game of catch, tossing a virtual ball back and forth with two other players. It was called Cyberball, built with a psychologist named Kipling Williams. What the players didn't know was that the other two weren't real. They were controlled by the computer. And partway through the game, on command, the two fake players simply stopped throwing the ball to the real person. They kept playing with each other. They left the real human out. Watching, ignored, excluded. It was the smallest, silliest rejection imaginable. A cartoon ball in a meaningless game thrown by people who didn't even exist. And yet, when Eisenberger looked at the brain scans, a region lit up, called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. If you've never heard that name, here's all you need to know. It is one of the core regions that registers physical pain. The exact same part of your brain that flares when you burn your hand or break your arm. Being left out of a pointless game lit up the brain like a physical injury. Rejection doesn't feel like pain because you're being dramatic. Rejection feels like pain because to your brain it literally is pain. The two run on the same circuit. Have you ever wondered why we use the words we use? Why nearly every language on earth describes heartbreak in the language of the body? You say you feel hurt. You say your heart is broken. You say a loss cut you deeply, that a betrayal was a stab in the back. Those aren't just poetry, they're a description of what is actually happening inside you. The map your brain uses for a broken bone is the same map it uses for a broken bond. And it goes deeper than feelings. Loneliness doesn't just live in your head, it gets into your blood. A scientist named Steve Cole, also at UCLA, went looking for loneliness inside human cells. He studied gene expression, which is simply the question of which of your genes are switched on and which are switched off at any given moment. Your genes are like a piano. Life decides which keys get pressed. What he found in chronically lonely people was chilling. Their bodies were playing a very specific tune. The genes that drive inflammation, the body's emergency response to injury, were turned up. And the genes that fight off viruses were turned down. Read that again. When you are lonely, your body prepares for wounds. It braces for physical damage. It shifts into the biological state of someone who is about to be attacked. Because for almost all of human history, being alone meant exactly that. Your ancient body still believes that a person cut off from the tribe is a person about to bleed. So it gets ready to clot. It gets ready to heal a wound that never comes. And that inflammation, running day after day, year after year, quietly begins to damage you from the inside. This is why isolation isn't just sad, it's dangerous. A researcher named Julian Holt Landstad gathered the data on this and found a number that should stop you cold. She reviewed studies covering hundreds of thousands of people and concluded that chronic loneliness raises your risk of early death on a scale comparable to smoking. Not smoking a little, something in the range of 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness is more dangerous to your body than obesity, more dangerous than never exercising. A feeling, a pure, invisible feeling, wearing people down at the rate of a lifelong habit of cigarettes. Because your body was never designed to survive alone. It was designed to be one cell in a larger organism called the group. But now comes the twist. The very alarm that once saved your life has, in the modern world, started to turn against you. Cacioppo noticed something cruel hidden inside the loneliness signal. When you become lonely, your brain doesn't just make you crave connection, it also makes you afraid of it. A lonely brain goes on high alert. It starts scanning every face for threat. It reads a neutral glance as judgment. It hears a short reply as rejection. It assumes the room is against you. Because a lonely ancestor who assumed danger and was wrong simply felt awkward, while a lonely ancestor who assumed safety and was wrong ended up dead. So your brain plays it safe by expecting the worst. Do you see the trap? The lonelier you get, the more your brain convinces you that other people are hostile, which makes you pull back, which makes you lonelier, which makes the alarm louder. A spiral, tightening, powered by the very system that was supposed to pull you back toward warmth. Your survival instinct becomes the thing keeping you in the cold. And here is where you live now. You carry a Stone Age alarm system inside a world it was never built for. You have 500 friends on a screen and no one to call at 3 in the morning. You can speak to anyone on the planet and go a full week without a single real touch. Your ancestors were rarely ever truly alone. You can be surrounded by millions and still trip every ancient wire in your brain. The signal still fires. It just has nowhere to land. So what do you do with this? You start by understanding what the feeling actually is. Loneliness is not proof that you are unlovable. It is not evidence that something is broken in you. It is a signal. It is your body doing its oldest job, telling you the same thing it told the small, soft creature on an open plain hundreds of thousands of years ago. Get back to the others. You are safer together. The pain is real, but so is the reason for it, and the cure is the same one it always was. You don't need 100 people. Your ancestors didn't have 100. They had a handful. A few faces that knew their name. That is what the alarm is asking for. Not a crowd, a tribe. You don't have to answer every fear your brain invents. You don't have to believe the story that says the room is against you. That story is a Stone Age reflex, not a fact. And once you can name it, you can choose to reach out anyway, even while the old alarm is still ringing. Send the message, make the call, sit down beside someone, not because the fear is gone, but because the fear is old, and it is wrong about the world you actually live in. So the next time you are sitting in a room full of people and feel completely alone, don't treat it as a flaw to hide. Treat it as a wound, and remember what wounds are for. They are the body's way of telling you where it needs care. They are meant to be tended. They are meant to heal. Please subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this video. And if you want to watch more of these videos, leave a comment to me saying what kind of educational and interesting videos next. Thanks again and see you next time.